Hey, what's up, guys? So, a quick update on the Young Thug case. I think a lot of people missed it, but basically, as the prosecution was arguing for the judge to deny his bond on these charges, they said that there are proffers by other members of the 26 who have been indicted that basically state that some of those members are afraid, where they're stating that they are afraid of Young Thug. They are afraid that Young Thug will harm their families. They are afraid that Young Thug will harm them for cooperating with the police and just in general. So basically what that means is that there are snitches on the Young Thug case that have been co-defendants who have turned against him and who will present evidence when the case does reach trial. So that really complicates the Young Thug case and probably also complicates the situation for Gunna, because there will be witnesses put on trial that have direct knowledge of the going-ons of YSL, what was really going on behind the scenes. However, nevertheless, the defense can try to impeach that evidence and try to impeach the testimony of some of those witnesses against Young Thug, because at the end of the day, they were also in the indictment and they were also criminals, so they could just be saving face, and saving their own ass and throwing Young Thug under the bus, because he is being charged as one of the leaders and one of the heads of the YSL gang, as the prosecution describes it. So what the prosecution can do is try to basically ruin the reputation of the witnesses on the stand by or ruin their testimony and ruin the interpretation, the impression that the jury has of the authenticity of the testimony and the believability of the testimony of some of those witnesses, by presenting arguments such as, those witnesses are only testifying because they're saving their own behind, because they're trying to avoid prison time, because they're trying to avoid being convicted. And for that reason, they're willing to testify against Young Thug. Now, they can present that argument, of course, and they can attempt to impeach any witness against Young Thug, but who's to say that's going to work? So if you look at the indictment and you read the information, it's nothing really that is too convincing that makes it 100% that Young Thug will be convicted or Gunna. But now that it's come out that there will be witnesses on the case, that there are people who are afraid of Young Thug and that are looking through protection as they're agreeing to be witnesses on the case, as they'll probably testify against Young Thug, it's going to make the situation for him much more complicated and a much more difficult battle. So you have to start thinking about it. Are they going to plea out? How is that going to, work out? He has been denied bond. He has to spend the rest of that time in prison until January 2023. And then even then, most cases do get delayed, especially big cases like that. So it's a really bad situation for Young Thug. There are witnesses out of the 26 indictment. There will always be witnesses, in most cases. It's very rare that everyone stays quiet, especially realizing that, once Young Thug gets put behind bars, some of that money that was probably flowing around, that was, creating a situation where they were getting money for being a part of YSL, for backing up YSL. Once he's arrested, that money dries up. And so their lawyer fees, he's not going to pay for their lawyers. He's not going to handle their situation. He's not going to take care of their families. So they probably realize, as far as this individual being charged as the leader, we might as well let him take all the blame. He has lawyers, he has the money, and they are turning on him. It's a very difficult situation for Young Thug. I mentioned in an early video how there could be a conflict of interest with regard to the lawyer. And the prosecution actually tried to argue that and remove him from the case. And I mentioned that before the prosecution tried to argue it. But yeah, and that didn't work, because he had a waiver right? He got Young Thug to sign a waiver that any conflict of interest is not a problem, and so he's aware of any conflict of interest that might occur. So yeah, man, Young Thug is really looking at an uphill battle, and so is Gunna, especially now that they have witnesses, and witnesses can be quite convincing to the jury if they do decide to go to trial. So just an update for you guys. I hope you guys like it. Hope you guys like my videos. Please subscribe so I can see that people are really enjoying the videos and want to hear more updates, especially, giving you guys a little bit of the legal perspective. Okay, peace.